Langflow, Pinecone, and OpenAI are three of the hottest technologies at play. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to build a chatbot using all three of them. So we are gonna be building a chatbot that is trained on every single tweet and YouTube video of mine. All of this without writing a single line of code. We would just be using a drag and drop builder. I've already built this out for a couple of my clients, and this is one of the most effective yet easiest agent that you can learn how to build. If you have used anything like NNN or Replit Agent Builder, trust me, this is gonna be easier than all of those. So let's get started. First thing, what does all of these three technologies actually do? So if you look at this image here from the left, you will see that whenever you ask a question, there is embedding model from OpenAI, there is Pinecone, there is OpenAI again. So these are different parts of a RAG system. Before explaining you what all of these technologies are individually doing, let me split out this entire process in two different parts. First one is ingestion. So when building a chatbot with memory, all the information you want it to understand, all your PDF docs, URLs, PPTs, you provide all of that as text. And then that text is split into meaningful chunks. Think of these as paragraphs of a book, but all of these paragraphs should individually also make sense. And then the model also builds relationship between all of these paragraphs, and it creates a vector database. Now when you are querying or asking a question to this chatbot, vector database provides relevant pieces of information, and your answer is generated based on that. This is the entire process. And if you look here, the exact same process is happening here. When you ask a question, a vector database is being queried, and we are using an embedding model here that is provided by OpenAI. And once it has provided all the relevant pieces of information, all of that is used in a prompt that goes back to OpenAI that gives you the final response. So this is how the entire workflow works out when you are building a chatbot that is trained on any specific information. And Langflow is the platform that helps you do this entire process. So the first step would be to go on Langflow's website. Just click on Get Started Free, and this will take you to the download page of the app. Just fill in your information and click on Download Langflow. You will receive the link for downloading it for Mac or Windows. Once you have downloaded the app, you will see a home screen like this. Over here, you can use it for building different kind of workflows. We would be building out two major workflows. Each of these workflows would be helping us achieve a different part of the process. One of the workflow will help us ingesting all this information into a vector database, and the second workflow would be helping us building a final chatbot out of it. So let's build out the first workflow. I will click on blank flow here. So I will see a canvas like this. For using this, we would be needing a vector database. So on the left, I will search for Pinecone. I will just drag this node from here and add this over here. We would be getting all this information in a minute: the API key, the index name, and everything else. Another cool thing about using Langflow is that you can click on any specific node and it tells you what kind of input it is expecting from you. The first thing we would be doing here is we would be ingesting our data. I will just search for split. This will give me this node called split text. So I will just connect the output of this with the data ingestion flow here, and we would be adding the input for this node. The input for this would be a file that we will be providing from our desktop. So I will just add this node here, and within this you can add all the files that you want this agent to be trained on. I will add this as the input here. And for embedding, let me just select a embedding model here. So I will click on embedding model, and that would give me this node. We would be selecting text embedding 3 small. Let's also connect this embedding model to it. Let's give this project a name. I will call this ingest data, and I will save this. Now let's get our OpenAI key and Pinecone API key. First, I will go to Pinecone's website. If you are using Pinecone for the first time, it is free to use. You can just directly land on their website and sign in, and you would be able to use it. And for that matter, everything else apart from your OpenAI API key does not require you to pay any money. Just in the case of OpenAI, you might have to add like $4 or $5 in your account so that you can start using their API key. I've already created a chatbot personal index here, but I will create it again. I will click on create index. Now I will call it chatbot personal and add live next to it. There are multiple embedding models that you can use here, but we are using text embedding 3 small. It's the most cost effective when you compare it with every other embedding model. And another thing that we'll be doing is in the dimension, we would be selecting 1536. This configuration looks good to us. This would be hosted on AWS in Virginia. We will click on create index. This will create a new index or a vector database where we can start saving our information. I will copy the name of this index. We go back and save the index name. And similarly, I will also get the Pinecone API key. For doing this, I will go on the API keys option here and I will click on create new API key and just copy the API key from here and add this to Langflow. Similarly, I will also get my API key from OpenAI. You just need to go on their platform called platform.openai.com and you can get it from there. So I've added both my API keys here for Pinecone and for OpenAI. Now I will select the files that I want to use in the embedding. I will click on select files. You can add any file, txt, md file or a .csv file, so anything works. I will just click on this interface and then I will go to my downloads folder. Over here I have all the relevant files. I've merged all my YouTube transcripts into a single file. Similarly, I also have a CSV file that I downloaded from my Twitter panel, which has all the tweets that I've made. I will just click on select files here and now both the files are added. I will connect this node with the input node and finally I will add a chat input node here. You can search it in the components and when I do that, I will see that the icon on the top right, playground, is now active. I'll type in a message here like, can you tell me my name? This will run this entire node and all the data that is on the files right now, all of them would be upserted or basically inserted in the vector database and we can use it for searches like these. When I send this message on the front end, I don't see anything, but if I close this, I will see that the entire embedding node ran for 32.7 seconds. During that time, it uploaded all of these chunks on Pinecone. If I come back on my Pinecone dashboard for this new index that we just created, and if I refresh this, I will see that within the index, within the browser tab, I see a list of records. If I go within namespaces, I see that there are 262 new records that have been added. These are basically chunks within which it has saved all the information that I provided it. So our first step of the process where we have created a vector database with our embedding is completed. Now let's go to the second step, querying this or creating a chatbot on top of it. I will create a new project. I will call it chatbot personal and I will also add my name here so that I know that I created this for myself. The first thing that we would be doing here is we would be adding an input node. This input node is through which anyone or we would be sending out the messages. Now after this input node, there are two different functions that we want our agent to do. First node goes to the prompt that AI or the final response would be requiring. And the second node is basically to a vector database along with the embedding model to find relevant pieces from our saved information. So those are the two things that we would be adding here. First is vector store. Here I will go and select Pinecone again. So we would be fetching information from here and we would be looking for the embeddings model as well, since it would be connected with our vector database again. So let's connect both of these. Now our embedding model is connected to embedding and I will do all of these parts pretty quickly because none of these are new information. You have already done it once, so it should be simple for you. We won't be ingesting any data right now because we have already done it once. Every time you want to ingest data, you can just go and run that other project that you created. Now let me quickly add my OpenAI API key, index name, and Pinecone API key, same as the last time. I've added all the details. Now the next thing is we take this output that we got from the vector database and then provide it to an agent that can provide the final response. So I will add a chat output node here. This will process the output from the vector database and provide it to a agent. I will select the agent node and I will add a agent. I will connect this node to the input here, and along with this I will add my OpenAI API key in this node as well, and I will select ChatGPT 4o model here. And now our entire agent flow is completed. I will also add instructions here. So I will add this. You are Nimish and you have to answer user queries based on the data that you have been provided. This data has been extracted from his tweets and YouTube videos. And I will finish editing this. And now we have our entire agent. Let's go to Playground and try using this. So I will ask something specific to what I've tweeted some days back. Last month was my birthday, so I created a tweet around my birthday telling everyone how old I was and some of the learnings from the last year. Let me just ask it for that. How old is Nimish and what all did I achieve last year? It will go through my entire Twitter account and fetch all the relevant tweets for this. You will see that it is embedding the relevant parts from all the tweets that I did. Here is the information. Nimish turned 27 on August 6, 2025. That's correct. Then it also mentioned what I worked on last year. I quit my 9 to 5 job. I launched my first SaaS. I started creating videos like these on YouTube and I gained a lot of internet connections. This is all based on the tweets that I created. From here, I can embed this on my website. I can just click on share and click on embed into site. This will give me a code that I need to insert on my own website. And you can also deploy this on a server and you can use this as an individual chatbot or you can embed it any service that you're using. So that's all about this video. I hope you found this helpful and you learned something new with this. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.